Welcome back. I'm Felix, and I got some more Reddit stuff for you. This one is a question. It's what is a confession that you can only anonymously post online? I think I said the name right. I think it will say it here. But yeah, I thought that would be interesting. See what things are hiding. Because I watched Shits and Gigs, and they did one where what's something that the group chat doesn't know, and those were pretty good. I thought, well, maybe if I find something on Reddit about that. Oh, excuse me. All right, don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't confess to something that's going to get you in trouble. All right, let's get into it.
What's a confession that you can only post anonymously online? Story 1. I met someone on a dating app a couple of years ago, and we started a casual sewel relationship. She lived a good drive away, and Uber was my main form of transportation at the time. So the first time we met, it cost $70, round trip more or less, to see her. I was pretty horny, so I had no problem putting up the money. I went straight to her place. The vibes and compatibility were there. I had fun. But the next time she invited me over, I told her I can't afford to see her that often. So I asked if it was okay if we split the Uber fare, and she agreed. It was fun. But I still realized that it wasn't sustainable to keep seeing her. So the next time we spoke, I told her it wouldn't be a good idea to keep seeing each other. She heard my side and then quickly insisted on continuing to see each other casually. So much that she offered to pay the Uber fare for the third time we met. Now, respectfully, she was a bit insecure and was able to be vulnerable and open with me from the very start. So it was a perfect storm of attachment, in my opinion. And I think it's fair to say that she really liked me, hence why she insisted. So I agreed. I went to see her the third time, and I had fun again. I didn't want to ask her again for help with Uber, solely from a point of understanding it was too much for anyone to pay for something casual like that. So when she reached out again, I had already planned to cut things off, which was what I told her. But she went on to explain how she was a grown woman and that we could agree as adults that it's her decision, and how if she wants us to be able to keep having fun, she was willing to pay for the Uber. All that, but I knew it was because she liked me, to be offering to pay for the Uber fare, in my opinion, and I was horny and having fun. So I agreed and decided.
I don't know how old this guy is. But yeah, if they're willing to pay, hey, why not? The only problem is if you get into an argument and they decide not to pay for you to go home, then you might be kind of screwed.
To keep seeing her. I then said if we continued this way, we should be physically exclusive too, so we can have more freedom in S without worries of STDs, and she agreed. So now no condoms, and she was already on birth control. So I was hooked to the S. She would send me the money for Uber via Zelly, and I went to see her. We had fun. That was it for about a month, and that's a lot because we'd see each other about twice a week. That was like $500 more or less in Uber. I knew it wasn't right, but I was selfish and was having fun. Then started the darker stuff. A bit after a month of seeing her, I got a bonus at work. It was enough to complete the down payment for a car I was saving for. It was just something I planned on getting for a while, but it never came up in conversation with the girl. Let's call her Jane. We never talked outside of arranging meetups. So when I got the car, I thought about telling her something like, hey, I have a car now, so it'll be cheaper, easier to see you.
No.
But coincidentally, she did something I wasn't expecting. I randomly got a Zelle notification about a deposit of $250 from Jane. It was odd because she usually sent money per trip when I saw her. Right after the Zelle, I got her text basically saying, hey, I sent you money for Uber for the next 2 weeks. And this triggered something dark in me. I had a new car note, plus insurance, and she had no idea about the car. I had the opportunity to tell her then and there, but I didn't. I told myself I would keep it a secret, keep seeing her, pretending to still be using Uber. So I responded.
Here's the thing. If the roles were reversed, I wonder how many women would be saying, girl, get yours, or something like that. But either way, male or female, that's messed up what they're doing.
With something like, hey, you don't have to do that. Just send it how we've been doing. But it was just manipulation. I knew she would insist on sending money this way, and she did. As time passed, I got even worse in my ways. I planted manipulation here and there. Occasionally, I would do things like bring up the Uber app in front of her, ordering the ride so she could see it. But then I'd cancel it when she wasn't looking and pretend my Uber arrived. She lived several stories up in her condo apartment, so it was easy to park across the street, out of view, and say that's where my Uber pickup was. So she wouldn't see me from the window, or even if she walked me out, which she did occasionally. I made it even worse. I'm tall and not bad looking, and I wanted more experiences with women, so I eventually decided to get on dating apps again and started casually seeing other women. Protected, of course, because I didn't want to mess up my income from Jane. So there were times where I would go see someone, then later see Jane the same night. I would say things like,
Are we sure this is not a woman? Sorry. Because I hear women doing this, go on a date with a guy and then go on another date. Oh, man. I promise I'm not red pill. All those TikToks you always see online and stuff, that's what it made me think of it.
can I shower when I get there? I'm stinky from the gym. All kinds of excuses. It happened a couple of times. On top
So he literally went and screwed one woman, then went and... Man, that's...
occasionally check the Uber fare rate from my place to hers to keep up with any changes in rates. It fluctuated up and down, and I would let her know I'd be needing more or less because the Uber fare changed, and Jane accommodated. I had to keep it realistic, right? It was
Jane must have been really hard up. Like, jeez. I'm sorry. I would begin to question stuff. Like, if she... Clearly, it's just sexual for him. But it sounded like she was wanting more. And it didn't sound like he was really giving it to her. Well, he was giving it to her. But not more, like emotionally more.
all bad. Eventually, I met someone I fell in love with and wanted something serious with, and I broke things off with Jane. And this was when everything mostly came out. She shared how she put a lot of effort into our relationship to try and get me to reciprocate her effort. But I only ever leaned on the, I just wanted something casual. She was hurt, depressed, and burdened by our casual relationship after that because she developed strong feelings for me.
I knew it.
We came to an understanding in that part, but I never told her about the car. I apologized for everything except for that because I was a coward to mention it. I took advantage of her, and I feel terrible about it. I'm not proud of it, so I'm letting it out anonymously. Story 2. I, 20F, have been sleeping with my brother's best friend, 23M, of 10 plus years. So let me start from the beginning. Let's call him Eric. I have known Eric since I was in elementary school. He has been my brother's friend since
10 plus years. Well, I just have an open relationship. That's so weird. Seriously, just at that point, just have an open relationship. Like, or have the relationship out and open is what I mean. Why? People are stupid. 10 years, you're an idiot. You're a straight up idiot. I hope this finds you. You're an idiot. God.
and would always bring him around, but I never talked to him due to being a shy girl until about my sophomore year of high school. There was one random night that resulted in me frequently hanging out with my brother and Eric. Eric is an attractive guy. I always found him cute, but again, he was my brother's best friend, so I never saw him in any type of way. I also felt that I was out of his league, as he's older than me. Anyway, we all grew closer as a group, so we planned a vacation together to Puerto Rico. It was a group of us, my brother, his girlfriend Eric, his friend Eddie, myself, and my friend. Our Airbnb had 2 rooms and a living room with a small inflatable mattress and a couch. On the first day, Eric and I were the only ones drinking. We drank from when we landed until I knocked out on the floor. When I woke up, everyone was ready to go to bed. My brother and his girlfriend took one room, Eric took the other, Eddie took the couch, and my friend took the inflatable. When I woke up, Eric was offering his bed to me, asking if I wanted to sleep in the big bed in the second room since the inflatable was too small. I was still a little drunk and stumbled my way to his room. I didn't think much of his offer, but I also wasn't going to turn it down. When I laid on the bed, I was still wearing the clothes from that day in my bathing suit. When he walked in, he nudged me to fix myself since I was on the edge of the bed. But when he woke me up, I was suddenly not sleepy anymore. And he wasn't tired either, so we watched TV. Midway through watching, I joked about taking more shots, and to my surprise, he got up to get the bottle. There we were, taking shots and watching Friends.
So they got drunk and got it on. You gotta be careful doing that these days. People say you took advantage of them. I know people, oh, you're missing the point. She was fully aware of what was going on in this scenario because she's the one writing the story. So I'm just saying, she was aware of what was going on. She wrote the story, and clearly she has no buyer's remorse. But even she needs to be careful. Even a woman needs to be careful with that. Trying to get with the guy who's drunk, that could backfire on you, and vice versa. So be careful out there.
I was watching with my head on his shoulder until at some point he pulled me closer, so my head was resting on his chest and he was caressing my arm. Again, I didn't think much of this. In my mind, it still wasn't even a thought of us doing anything, until at some point we were face to face, close to kissing, telling each other that we can't and it's just because we're drunk. But then that soon turned into, we can't tell anyone. We ended up kissing and hooking up that night. After, we told each other that we could never tell anyone or speak on it again. We said when we woke up,
I'm questioning how drunk they were. Because if she blacked out at one point and then all of a sudden she fully awake, were you really that drunk? Because I've been around some drunk people. I've been drunk. It's been a long time since I've been drunk, but still, the way she's talking about she blacked out and then woke up, and then she's not tired. It's like, were you doing something else too? Were you doing some speed? Because, yeah, it sounded like something else. She might have been doing some other stuff.
To normal. And so we went to sleep cuddling. Also, to keep things clear, things between us are strictly physical. The next morning, we didn't speak on it. Nothing was awkward. We acted how we always do, which I appreciated, until we were all smoking on the patio that night, and it was just us two out there. I don't remember how the subject got brought up, but we started talking about the night before. To sum up the conversation, it was basically us saying that one more time couldn't hurt, and what happened in Puerto Rico stays in Puerto Rico because we weren't going to bring whatever we were doing back home. And so that same night, we slept together and hooked up again. This happened every day of our vacation. And no, we didn't get caught. If you're wondering what my brother thought of Eric and me sleeping together, he never really said anything to me.
If you've been in it for 10 years, I guarantee you everybody knows. I just thought that everybody probably knows it and just wait for you two idiots to say something. People aren't, I know I said people are stupid, but people aren't that stupid. Someone in their friend group knows, and just wait for those two idiots to say something.
Apparently, Eric had asked for permission on the first night. Not permission to do anything with me, obviously, but permission as in if it was fine if I slept in the bed because there was nowhere else for me to go. And my brother was fine with it. I think my brother also thought we would never hook up. We never spoke about it because I didn't want to make it weird by bringing it up. But I know he also didn't tell my mom when she asked about the sleeping arrangements. I don't think anyone on the trip really suspected anything. Although I do know Eddie walked into our room one morning while we were cuddling, and he just stood there watching us for a while until he left. But he never said anything. Anyway, on the last day of our vacation, it was just us in the house as everyone else was out doing something. So we had our last hookup. We said we were going to cut off all the inside jokes that had come about from our hookups and anything that had to do with our secret. Throughout the trip, we would feel guilty for my brother and what we were doing behind his back. But at the same time, there was a rush of adrenaline and curiosity with the situation. I mean, come on, hooking up with my older brother's hot friend? It's straight out of a movie. I couldn't help but explore.
Straight out of a movie.
And I think Eric felt the same way too. Yet when we got back home, it seemed like we weren't done exploring. The second night back, we ended up hooking up on my couch. And then we hooked up again, and again, and again. We've been sneaky with it, but also very risky. But that's the fun part of it, and he gets off on the sneakiness. Once we almost got caught by my dad, but...
Why would you... How old is this girl? Now I'm like confused. How old is this girl? Is she in high school? I don't care how old is this girl. She could be in college, living at home, but still, I guarantee your dad's not stupid. He probably knows you two idiots were doing something. Most adults are, are not. Parents are not as stupid as you think. Even older parents, they know there's stuff going on. They don't want to know their kids are doing that stuff, but they know stuff is going on.
Eric, my brother's best friend who's been around for ages. It's been about 3 months of us sneaking around. We've gotten to a point where I've snuck over to his in the middle of the night, or I let him know when I'm home alone, or we just hook up in my living room. For context, Eric is always over and stays very late, whether or not my brother is there. So it's very easy for us. Anyway, I've reached a point where I'm kind of over the rush of the...
So you're hooking up in the front room on the couch at your parents'? That's gross. Don't do that in your parents' house. Especially if you're not a high school kid. That's what I'm saying. How old is this girl? Now I feel like this is like a teenager telling this story. And how much older is the friend? Are they all in high school?
I know we're not going to date. He's made that clear because he wants a baddie. And I'm just not a baddie yet, Like, I know I'm attractive, but I haven't reached my peak. Also, for the obvious reason of me being his best friend's little sister. So I've kind of made it a mission to work my way into becoming a baddie this summer, so he can want one he can't have. His old sneaky link also hit him up again, so I just don't even feel like messing around anymore before he starts messing with her again. Anyway, I want to be the one to end it, not him, because I don't want him to feel that power. I don't know how to explain it. He said I've been the best he's been with, which is why it's been hard for him to stop, but I feel like he sees himself as the prize, which I don't like. Anyway, I had my fun. Who knows when we'll end this fun? Probably soon. Just felt like saying something on here since I can't really tell many people. Am I a bad person for what I did to my brother? Should I stop hooking up with Eric?
Okay, the first story. So are these all going to be about sex? I just thought it. I'm going to listen to one more. The first story, person was straight up an a-hole for what they did. This one, it depends what are the, I'm so hooked on the age, like, because it sounds like kids talking about this. It feels like teenagers or freshmen in college or something like that. I hooked up with a guy on my parents' couch. That's what it sounds like. It's like, how old are they supposed to be in this story? Well, anyways, the second one, yeah, it's just, if you're adults, just be adults about it. You ain't gotta run around. But then again, she did say they're getting off from the rush of it and people not learning and almost getting caught. I guarantee everybody knows. No one cares. Because that's usually how it goes with these stories. All right, let's listen to one more and see what this one's about. If this one's about sex too, then this is definitely going to be the last one for me.
So this is confusing. I don't know whether or not I actually said a prayer. This might be part of the whole issue. OCD sometimes focuses on taboo themes. I've had an obsession over praying for bad things. It started out with things like World War III, so I would die, and then a lot of other things like that, where there would be some benefit to me, but other people would get hurt. Unfortunately, it went beyond that. OCD has led me to become desensitized to certain things.
I don't think that's OCD. Yeah, I don't think that's OCD. I think you're a sociopath. Yeah, that's not OCD. This dude's definitely a sociopath. I don't know what you got, but I don't think you got OCD.
Tragedy that happened where someone died, I felt bad, but I was so focused on my own depression, I didn't really feel too much.
Yeah, that's what you got. You're depressed. It's not OCD.
Sometimes it could even be like, oh, here is something dramatic that happened that could distract me from what I'm worrying about. I felt guilty about that, but that is part of what OCD targets. This next part is disturbing. OCD causes me to look at stories of what bad people did, to compare them to myself and reassure myself I'm not as bad as them. In addition to that, sometimes dramatic stories of messed up things distract me from OCD. My OCD took advantage of this. With the prayer obsession I'm having, if I feel guilty about praying for something, it can make me compulsively want it. It's difficult to explain, but I could find myself praying for every little thing like, please let the soap be full,
Okay, hold on.
etc.
Okay, so obsessive compulsive disorder is a mental health condition characterized by a pattern of reoccurring unwanted thoughts and fears, obsessions that lead to individuals to engage in repetitive behaviors, compulsions, in an attempt to reduce their anxiety or prevent perceived harm. I'm trying to see here. It doesn't say anything about desensitized. I think someone looked this up and tried to put. Someone looked up what OCD was and didn't read the whole definition. Because it does talk about silently repeating words or prayers, mental rituals, but it doesn't say anything about self-harm, doesn't say anything about wishing others harm. This is about harm coming to you in some way. So yeah, so whoever wrote this story doesn't understand what OCD is. So yeah. Well, we'll go ahead and finish this story. But yeah, whoever wrote this does not know what OCD is.
I don't know if these were real prayers. My mind wanted to see how far it could go, and it brought in things like the ones I mentioned with dramatic stories. Unfortunately, that was a possibility too. My mind would do things like,
I wonder if this is just an AI story. You know what? I am not liking this story. I'm going to leave this in here so you guys know what happened. But I think I'm going to bring this story to an end. The first two were good, but this one kind of now put me off from going any further. I mean, they all could have been AI stories. Because like I said, that second one was weird in a sense. Because they're talking about they've been friends since middle school. Doesn't really explain their age. Or did it say their age? Anyways, it sounded like a high school wrote it. And this one sounds like it's AI driven in the sense that it doesn't know what OCD is. I know OCD can lead you down a path, but it's been, from what I've seen, what I just read, it's about harm. You're afraid of harm coming to you if you don't do something. And this doesn't sound like OCD in any way, shape, or form that I've ever seen or heard or read. So there's that. But yeah, the other two were interesting. So I'm going to call it quits here. I was actually recording another video and I didn't like it because I was bored with it. I was sitting there listening to it. It's like, this is so dang boring. It was one of those like stories like XYZ happened and everyone started reaching out to me. It's like, whatever. And I tried to listen to it, but it was just so boring. And it was clearly AI. And the other video that I was going to do, I actually said down with AI, especially in the way that's being used right now. With that aside, don't forget to like and subscribe, and everyone take care. Later.